So there is some AI involved according to what I understand. And let me show it to you very quickly. Ableton 12 is supposed to come very soon. We're going to talk about everything, sound selection and organization, file management, templates, everything today in Ableton Live 11. But let's just see this, what's exciting new features are. I think Clark mentioned also Bitwig, which is amazing and have a lot of awesome stuff in it. And when it comes in other softwares, have this tagging system, you can do your own customized searches and all those. So Ableton answered a lot of those requests now in Ableton Live 12. This is Ableton Live 12, still in beta, but coming out very soon. And if I first of all see here in the top, we have this new thing called filters. So each category, including my own samples, I can start filtering according to a bunch of things, okay, a bunch of different categories. And I can also go to, let's say, I have my own presets here. So this I can go and let's say here chord, I can go edit. And now I can add it, tags to it. So then I can start searching according to specific categories or types of sounds. Now, if I add, let's say, voice here, I need to, this is a custom one, I think I need to resave it. But let's say here, I'm going here, I'm going to go filters under my plugins. And I want an instrument, VST3, and from Arturia, okay? So now I see all of those. And there's also a way to start saving your searches. So if I search kick right here, okay, I can add it. Well, I think it's kind of, I might have to close 11. Just 1 second. Let me close this. Let me close this. Okay. And let me close. Let me open 12. What I'm trying to show you right now is it also allows you to save searches. So if I start searching a thing here, right here you see the plus sign. Let me search like a kick. So kick, I can hit the plus sign. And now, give it a second. It adding this search term as a category to my library. So it's going to be much easier to start kind of tagging your entire library, including plugins, your own custom presets, samples, whatever, Ableton stuff, of course, whatever it may be, you can create your own custom categories, which is great. And you can, of course, also tag everything there. So that's according to the, regarding to the browser. The most amazing thing, in my opinion, is the sound similarity. And this allows you to take, let's say I'm going to take just a drum rack here. Now, this is also true for your own samples without, like, not Ableton stuff. Now I have a drum rack here, and let me know if you guys can hear this also.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. We're making a silly beat here, and maybe we'll change the BPM. And now, let's say I don't like the kick. So I can click on this sound similarity icon. And now every sample I can just switch it. So let's solo the kick, for example. Go back to sound similarity. Okay, so now it's going to search for similar sounds to that kick. I can also switch the entire drum rack right here on the top. Okay, and it's absolutely amazing. As you can see, it's also working with my own samples. This is not Ableton's built-in. So I would say that's the most exciting feature. It's not only for drum sounds. If you go under sounds, you find like a cool sound that you like. So I like this, but I want something similar. I click on sound similarity, and it gives me all the similar sounds. If you start tagging all your presets and plugins, it will also include that in the sound similarity. So a lot of exciting stuff coming with 12 in regards to browsing and exactly, Elliot, like XO. Exactly. Jens, the metering has changed a tiny bit. They made this a lot bigger, this handle of the volume. So yes, everything looks a bit more slick, for sure.
So,
oh, go ahead.
So it's the AI is what's scanning and finding these similar
similar sounds.
tones?
Yeah, the similar sounds. According to what I understand, there might be just some simple algorithms, not like actual AI that gets better and train itself, but just a fancy algorithm that finds similar sounds. And if anyone have Omnisphere, which is a great plugin, that have for a long time this type of sound similarity, which is great. You find a sound that is almost there, try to find similar sounds with the sound similarity. So that is Ableton Live 12. Let's go back to 11. But very soon it's getting released. Very exciting things with Ableton Live 12. Nice. Okay. Now let's talk about some general things first before we go back to those type of things. I'll go over a couple of general things regarding organization, okay? And then we'll start saying more about the sound selection and everything, file management, stuff like that. So first of all, if you're not using your collections yet, I would recommend start using them. This is just a Ableton Live 11 version of this tagging system and categorizing, because I can click edit. I can rename, it's usually they're named by default by their color. I can just rename them whatever I want. I'll show you how I organized it. You can do it the same, or you can organize it in your own way. But definitely use the collections. It's just a very quick, when I start a project, usually first thing I come here, okay, and start working with it. If you're using the push, you should absolutely make sure that you're using the collections. It's much easier to access the push and not scroll endlessly, especially if you have a lot of samples and files and plugins, and choose your, the tools that you're actually working with, the samples, the presets. You can add anything into a collection, anything. Here I have, this is a preset that I made, this Ableton stuff, this is a Max for Live device, this is more presets, and these are all plugins, okay? In the same collection category. So you can add anything, you samples, whatever you want. So for me, what I have is one collection category for sounds and tools. It's mostly just my instrument plugins that I like using. So I would recommend, if you are having this type of category, absolutely upload add a piano to it. And to add an instrument into your collection, or any file into your collection, just go to it in the browser. Let's say I want the upright piano. It's under upright piano, but Splitfire under packs, instruments, and I can right click on it and add to any collection that I want, including multiple ones, okay? Nice. So piano, I would absolutely make sure that you have piano that you can quickly access. It's just a very essential tool to have for composition, obviously, unless you're doing like super dark techno, and you might not need that to just come up with musical ideas. But I have a piano, ready to go. I also have a preset that I saved. This is a plugin that I grouped together into an instrument track. I'll show you, and saved it as a preset, just so I can easily load it up instead of loading the plugin and then loading the instrument or the preset inside the plugin. So any plugin, you can go load the preset. If that's like your go-to, in my case, piano, I load it, and then I ignore these. We don't need to see these. And then I take the contact. Let me ungroup this. Here, I group it, and I save it as a preset. So when I load the preset, it's already loading that preset inside the plugin. Okay, in our case, it's contact with this specific piano instrument that is loaded up inside of it. So that can be also very useful if you want to load specific presets from inside plugins. Okay, everything else is essentially just the plugin itself. Like Serum, all the instruments, and so on. Nice. I will talk more about contact and those type of plugins in a second. Next, I got mixing and color. These are, again, presets that I made or plugins that I like to use for mixing and coloring sounds. Okay, nice. If you have any questions, specific plugins, you can ask. But honestly, in the last at least a year, I barely use any plugins, to be honest. Ableton, especially 12 in a second, is providing mostly what I need. These are all the vocal effects that I use. And again, I have some of my own presets, and we can talk about those as well specifically, just to showcase the collections. These are all the modulation effects. So modulation effects are stuff that add in movement for the sound, which are chorus, flanger, phaser, panning, tremolo, okay, vibrato, stuff like that. I know Elliot. Listen, Elliot said he spent a lot of so much on third-party plugins, and I'm not saying don't use them. They're absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. And I have so much of them. I'm addicted, and maybe because of that, because I was so addicted, I was the guy in music school when I went to music school that people, hey Yuda, can you get me that plugin? I was addicted. There used to be a website, vstclub.something.ru, I don't know, and you had to pay like $25 and you get all the cracked plugins. Listen, dude, I'm addicted to plugins. I have a huge list. Today, luckily, they're all legit, but I can't say I spend much on plugins. I get a lot of them for free, to be honest, from the companies. And if there's any questions on plugins, of course, specifically, I will answer. I would say for some instruments, like plugin instruments are absolutely amazing. Synthesizers and Contact, Omnisphere, all of those, I would spend the money on. When it comes to mixing, only maybe dedicated things like maybe plugins for mastering and maybe plugins for auto-tune, stuff that Ableton, or pitch correction, stuff that Ableton don't have. But I have endless of plugins, okay? Endless. Nice. Modulation effects. I have space effects, all the delay and reverbs. I have anything that has got to do with saturation, distortion, tape effects, vinyl, all those kind of things. Preamps, tubes, and a category for mastering. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to, I put all my, again, Elliot, because I have so much plugins, I put them categorized in my collection. But you might have a lot of samples. So you can have a collection and have it, this one can be maybe kicks, okay, or loops. And I know some of my friends make sampled hip hop. So they have like a collection for just chops, right? Just like they already sampled it from the vinyl, they chopped up places that they liked, and they just put it in a folder. So when they get to the production, it's fast. They just choose a chop and they start playing with it and then adding drums and whatever else they need. Whatever we do here today, and we might get to make it actually some music today, but it's pre-production. It's setting us up for success, for when I sit down, I just mess around with good sounds, hopefully. And this will also in some way help us with mixing. And in some cases, as we get better in selecting the right sounds, it will essentially almost eliminate mixing because we're mixing in the sound selection. Yes, there are 7, Nissi, collections. Good question. There are 7 collections in total.
I was just
You
gonna,
can't. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna chime in and say I think that your collections categorization is good. Like I'm looking at mine right now, I'm like, it's a little clunky. Yours actually to me makes sense for like completing a song. I'm like, oh yeah, that flows. I'm gonna steal your
Please.
collections.
Yeah, please, absolutely. Especially if you have a lot of presets and stuff. And guys, I want to point out that even though I have a lot of plugins here, for example, if I go to Lo-Fi and Dist, here I have this preset that I just found inside. I highly recommend you guys checking this preset. This is part of a built-in pack, built-in. You have to download, but it's free if you have Suite. Drive and Glow called Crisp Dreams, just the audio effect track. So even if you don't have plugins, this might be a good category, but just start going under audio effects and presets and saving your favorite ones, okay, in those type of categories. But again, it can be also with samples or anything else you want.
Quick question.
Yes.
I guess in light of Live 12 introducing all the tagging, having not compared them firsthand myself, I'm finding a hard time distinguishing when collections would be more advantageous than tagging, and like how I could build knowing that both tools will be available to me in like a month, you know?
Absolutely. Okay, that's a very good question. So I would say that this is already a way to have a category like we would in Ableton 12, where we search, and whatever we search, we can save it as a category. When we search something and save it as a category, it's much easier to consolidate all those things under that name or under that tag into one collection, which is actually a now saved search category. So it's essentially the same, but in this case, in Ableton Live 11 and also in 12, the collections you have to manually add anything that you want to that collection. So I would say they're essentially the same, the saved searches, But the saved search is just much easier to get everything into it because it just search, it's all of it, right? So I would already, and they're all also going to be on the top. And again, if you're using the push, it will also come up first. So even if you are planning to advance to a 12, I would still recommend setting up your collections. It's very similar to what's going to happen with the searches. And the searches might also encompass so much. Like you search, you want a category of kick. It's going to be so much, you're still going to have to go through it. So collections are still a valuable organization, kind of favorites place. Okay, I use them. It just makes things a bit faster. And that's what everything we do today, just making everything more ready for us to get in the flow of just creating, so, and starting and continuing and finishing. So this, but organize it however you want, I would highly recommend using the collections, okay? Awesome. Nice. Now, right here, when we go under sounds and drums and so on, if you have a lot of packs, live packs, which I do, it's going to be quite crazy, all of this, okay? So also here you can, if you want, you can add a collection category. I just would recommend whenever you're using the browser in any place, and I'll show you later with the places, right here on the top, you can right click and categorize it by all these settings. So first of all, place for me is great because I can go under drums, categorize by place, and now I can see which pack it is. So it's much easier. So I kind of know the packs, or you can tell by the name, you know, Latin percussion, you know, and so on and so forth. So that's very useful. But let's say there's other things that are useful here. For example, rank. So if I go under audio effects, if you want to know what's your most used effects, I'm going to right click first of all here in the background and turn off group in folders so we just see a huge list. I'm going to right click, rank, click on the rank, and now it will also show me my most used effects or whatever list of categories you're in. And I can also see what I'm not using, what's the list used. Maybe I can explore it. So just to point out this rank listing, really great, okay? Place and rank. And the last one is date modified. I'm gonna jump a second right here. These are all the places on my computer that I added manually. One of them is my Ableton projects. Before I continue, let me just mention that I have 2 external hard drives connected to a powered USB hub behind my desk. Okay, they're just there. I don't like to take them out. Rarely, if I have lectures that I might need them, shows, maybe, I don't like to take them out of there. Okay, but what we have here is 2 external hard drives. On one of them, I got all my Ableton projects, okay, which is pretty big, and my sample packs as well. I'll show you how I organize them. On the second hard drive, I have really big multi-sample libraries like Contact, Omnisphere, and other like huge stuff that are like 500 gigs. I don't want them to be on my computer. My external hard drives, you have to make sure they're SSDs, okay, solid state drives. They just work so much faster than the conventional ones, the actual hard disks we had in the past, okay? Just want to mention that. So I took this folder and I just dragged it here into the Ableton browser, or you can just click add folder and add it, which I'm sure you already know if you added some samples there. The reason to have your Ableton projects here is because here I can load projects directly from my Ableton browser. I don't need to go file open. I can just load here. Oh, what's this? Let me go and load that project. Just double click, load it up. Or what I can do is I can also go, I'm working on this one project and I remember that a project I made like 6 months ago had a super cool bass line. So I'm opening up the project here, opening up this, the actual project file, and now I get a list of all the tracks and I can drag, let's say I want these 4 tracks right here. I'm going to drag them to my project. Doesn't matter where you drop them in. You'll see this black line. Just got to wait. It might take a few seconds for the black line to show. Just click and hold. Once you see the black line, you can let go. And then it will move all these 4 tracks with whatever arrangement, effects, the session or arrangement view, everything. So it allows you to merge different projects together. And thirdly, well, as we mentioned, we have this date modified. If you don't see it, by the way, you might have to drag it right here if you don't see this extra column.